everyone, get ready, because on today's deep dive, we're diving headfirst into Los Santos, the iconic setting you find in Grand Theft Auto V.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Now, some of you might be out there thinking, GTAV, come on, isn't that old news by now?
Yeah, didn't that come out like a million years ago?
Well, that's the thing about GTAV, you see. It's way more than just a game at this point. It's a whole cultural phenomenon that's still making waves almost a decade later.
Seriously, the staying power of this game is insane.
So whether you're a hardcore gamer or just kind of curious about why this game is still a big deal, stick with us. We're about to explore the lasting impact of Grand Theft Auto V.
What always gets me about GTAV is how it totally redefined what a video game could even be. It pushed the limits with the story, the tech, even stirred up its fair share of controversy, that's for sure.
Okay, so before we floor it into all the details, let's set the scene for anyone who might not be totally familiar with the series.
Yeah, gotta lay down some groundwork.
So picture this. It's 2013, right? GTAV explodes onto the scene as like the 7th main game in the Grand Theft Auto series.
Everyone was losing their minds. It was huge.
And we're dropped right into this massive, like, fictional version of Southern California, focusing on Los Santos, their version of LA.
They basically made LA, but like way more exaggerated.
But here's where things get really interesting. For the first time ever in the series, you're not stuck with just one main character.
Oh yeah, that's right. GTAV tosses you into the shoes of not one, not two, but 3 totally different characters, man.
Michael, Trevor, and Franklin. Each one is dealing with their own ambitions, their own issues, and this kind of messed up version of the American dream.
It's like they each represent a different side of that dream, you know?
Exactly. I remember back when it came out, everybody was freaking out about this whole 3 protagonists thing. It just felt like such a bold move for Rockstar to make.
Oh, totally. No one had really done that before.
Was it just a gimmick to try and be different, or did it actually change how the story was told?
Oh, it totally changed the game. Think about it. Instead of just seeing the story from one person's point of view, you're jumping between these 3 characters all the time, each with their own voice and what they're trying to do.
It was like playing 3 games at once, in a way.
Kind of. You've got Michael, this retired bank robber who's trying to stay on the straight and narrow.
Keyword.
Yeah.
Trying.
But he keeps getting pulled back into the criminal world. Then you've got Franklin, a young guy trying to hustle his way out of his rough neighborhood, you know, make something of himself.
He just wants a piece of the pie.
And then, of course, there's Trevor.
Oh, boy. Trevor.
The loose cannon, right? The unpredictable one. Trevor is like pure chaos.
He does not play by the rules.
Nope. He's a career criminal, just does whatever he wants. And honestly, I think that's part of why people love that character so much.
He's the one you love to hate, but you secretly love him.
Totally. He's like that little bit of crazy we all kind of wish we could be, at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, having those 3 characters, it made the story way more interesting.
It sounds like it. You were saying how having 3 characters made this story more complex. How so?
Well, it's like their lives are all connected in this big web of stories.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You get invested in what happens to them, their problems, how their paths cross. And the way you switch between them, sometimes even in the middle of a mission, that made it feel like you were watching a movie.
You felt like you were in a movie, but you were in control.
Exactly.
That's wild. I've got to say, I felt a much stronger connection to the characters and what happened to them compared to the other GTA games.
It hit different.
It wasn't just about blowing stuff up.
Although there was plenty of that, too.
Oh, for sure. This is GTA we're talking about. But there was real heart to it, you know? It was about these characters trying to figure out life and dealing with the fallout from their choices.
And in a world like Los Santos, there's a lot of fallout.
Yeah, and you know, that complexity, it wasn't just in the characters, it was woven into the whole world itself. Oh, totally. It makes you think, GTAV didn't just drop you in some empty playground where you could just go nuts. It built a world that felt real, alive, you know, and a little too familiar sometimes in a kind of satirical way.
For sure. It was like they took a funhouse mirror and pointed it right at America.
100%. Speaking of the world, can we talk about Los Santos for a minute?
Oh, man, it's iconic.
It felt so real. The traffic jams on the freeways, the glitz and glam of Vinewood. It's like they actually went and kidnapped a slightly weirder version of LA and dropped it straight into the game.
Right. Uncanny is the word I'd use. Rockstar Games, they've always been known for sweating the details, but with GTAV, they really outdid themselves. They used real-world data, man, even Google Maps, all to rebuild Los Angeles in the game, like down to the streetlights.
Wow, no way. I never knew they actually used Google Maps.
Yeah, they went all out. They captured the vibe, the way the city sprawls out, all those different neighborhoods, everything.
And it wasn't just about, you know, plopping down the right buildings and streets. They totally nailed the atmosphere. That whole mix of glamour and grime, the social commentary, all baked into the city itself, like those fake commercials and TV shows you come across.
Yes. That was the best. Like that heightened reality,
Yeah.
They mixed the familiar with the totally absurd, and it just worked. That's what makes Los Santos such a brilliant satire of American culture. You know what I mean?
It's so true, it is.
Like, take their in-game social media thing, Life Invader. Come on, it's a straight-up parody of Facebook.
Oh my God. Life Invader.
So there, people freaking out over likes, posting all that meaningless stuff, chasing after internet fame.
It's hilarious and a little scary how much it's like real life.
Exactly.
Mm.
It's funny, but also makes you think, wait a minute, are we really this messed up?
It's like holding up a mirror to society. And sometimes what we see isn't that flattering.
It's that classic satire thing, right?
Mm.
It can make us squirm a little because it shows us our flaws, the things we don't like to admit, but it does it through humor.
So we can laugh at ourselves, kind of.
Exactly. Which makes it easier to swallow.
Definitely. But speaking of making us squirm, we can't talk about GTAV without addressing the elephant in the room, right? The controversy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It definitely stirred up some stuff.
I mean, this game, it ignited all these huge debates about violence in games, how women are portrayed. It even made people ask if we can, separate the art from the artists,
The age-old question, right?
It is. How do we square all that criticism with the fact that this game is amazing and had such a huge impact? How do we even begin to reconcile those two things?
Honestly, it's one of those things where there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
You've got this crazy good game that does so much right in terms of story and the technology.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, it's got elements that are, they're made to push buttons, and that can be harmful. Take that mission, buy the book.
Ugh, that mission. I remember that one. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was hard to play through that one.
It was designed to be uncomfortable. It basically makes you, as Trevor, take part in a torture scene. Waterboarding, electrocution, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And, okay, the game doesn't try to make those things seem good or anything.
Yeah.
But the level of detail they put into it and the fact that you're the one doing it sparked a huge debate about violence in video games. People were really torn about that one.
You're not wrong. It's one thing to watch a cutscene. It's another thing entirely to feel like you're actually a part of something that messed up.
Exactly. And that's where things get really tricky. Was it trying to say something about how desensitized we've become to violence? Or was it just gratuitous, These are the questions that players and critics are still debating today.
It's something to think about, for sure. And this isn't just about one mission either, is it?
Not even close.
GTAV overall, I feel like it's grappling with these, uncomfortable truths about who we are, about our society, even if it does it in a satirical way.
Right. It's like holding up this dark mirror to everything. Our weird obsession with violence, our need to be rich and famous, the ugly side of the American dream,
Yeah. Not always pretty.
No.
But it does make you think.
It sticks with you. Which is maybe why, even with all the controversy, GTAV, it just blew up, right?
Exploded, biggest game ever, pretty much.
Smashed all the records. Think about it.
Yeah.
This game made $1 billion in 3 days. That's unheard of.
Crazy.
And it's still one of the best-selling games ever made.
Those numbers are insane. And it's not like people played it and forgot about it either. GTA Online. People are still in there, building their empires, raising hell. Years later.
It's the magic of GTA Online, man. It's like this world that never stops. Rockstar, they're smart, they keep adding stuff.
New missions, new stuff to do.
All of it. The fact that people are still so into it just goes to show how much staying power this game has.
It's officially a phenomenon. People are still obsessed with this game. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive here, I'm really curious, from your point of view, what is it about GTAV that's grabbed so many people? Why are we still talking about it after all this time?
Honestly, I think deep down, GTAV just taps into something really human.
What do you mean?
That need for freedom, to be in control. Even if it is just in a game, we get to walk in these different characters' shoes, explore this amazingly detailed world, and for a little while, forget about the rules of real life.
It's like that ultimate power fantasy, right? But it's more than that, too.
Oh, way more.
It's a game that starts conversations, makes you see things differently, even if it's uncomfortable sometimes, makes us look at ourselves,
100%. It's a game that stays with you. Long after you turn off the console, it makes you think.
And that's what makes it more than just a game.
Right.
It's like a cultural artifact, something we can all talk about and debate. It shows you just how powerful video games can be, not just for telling stories, but for making us think about the world, too.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of Grand Theft Auto V. But now it's your turn. What does GTA V mean to you? Is it just a fun way to blow off steam, a masterpiece that makes you think, or something totally different? Whatever it is, one thing's for sure. GTA V, it left its mark. On gaming, on culture, on everything. And on that note, that's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.